Hopefully this works. So today we are going to try and fix the occupancy sensor issue with some sketchy stuff that I ordered off the internet. So those of you that have Miatas know, or at least the NCs, that the occupancy sensors are a huge pain, especially if you want to lower the seat. So the way this started is I put jazz drop brackets on the seat itself, the passenger seat. That kind of screwed with the occupancy sensor stuff. Made it basically think that somebody was in the passenger seat the whole time. So basically I just got one of those little dummy plugs, plug that in, makes it think that the seatbelt's plugged in, no big deal. Recently I started having problems with it just throwing the 48 error code. If you know, you know. Basically, it's indicating an issue with that system. So, from KDL Technologies, we have this little box. You splice this into the original harness to essentially trick it into thinking that it has somebody in the seat. I believe it's probably going to end up with me needing that dummy thing in the seatbelt bit as well. We'll see. So before we get to that, there were some things that I tried. So if you look around on the Miata forums, you can find out that people have tried to trick these sensors in a lot of different ways. This way being one of them. So these are the occupancy sensors out of the seat itself. You have to drill some rivets to get these out. It's got kind of like a little cover that goes over them. Drill the rivets out, take the cover off, and then you basically just disassemble it. It makes a huge mess of parts everywhere. But the idea here is to take it, mount it to a piece of aluminum stock, and you want to, so if you look, there's just a hole kind of in the middle to keep them centered, and then there are 2 bolts, or screws in this case, on either side. And what that is doing is it is pushing down on either side to simulate the flex in the sensor and get it to pick up, thinking that somebody is sitting in the seat. I tried this, went through a couple different iterations of this. This is kind of where I landed. All of this goes to a little control box that's under your seat, and then out of this control box, it plugs into the main harness with this wire that's under the seat. This is what we're going to splice into. So it didn't work, obviously, because I'm here now and talking about this. I think either one of the sensors is bad, or maybe the box, the control module itself is bad. These are pretty much impossible to find unless you just buy an entire seat and rob the parts out of that seat, basically just swapping the rails over to your seat. I didn't want to go through that process. I hate this system. I know why it's there, but I hate it. It's irritating. So we're going to try this. You can find companies that make these for like the NB that had the occupancy sensor. It's kind of hard to find for the NC. This was basically the only one I found. They did have pictures of that control box on their website, and they actually have you look at this part number here and tell them exactly which one you have. I'm assuming they've figured out, you know, whatever needs to be programmed into this thing, or whichever version of this thing needs to trick which version of that box you have. So we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to splice it in. It didn't really come with any instructions, or maybe it did. Let's look. We'll read the instructions. Yep, nothing really here. During the fill-in protocol, yeah, I don't know. So we're going to give this a shot, see what happens. Maybe it'll work. I hope it works, because this system is really annoying. And it seems to fail a lot. So let's get started. So like I said, here's this little box. You can see it's got some little of those push connectors. I'm not a huge fan of those. I may end up using something different, but this is what we get. Oh, actually, I lied. There's installation instructions with the QR code. So we'll probably scan that here in a minute, take a peek, see what they say. For now, oh, there goes one. Alright, well, weren't too worried about those anyway. Okay, yeah, so probably need to read the instructions. There's going to be some dip switches on the back. I'm assuming that has to do with just telling it how to trick the system or how the programming needs to be. The only thing you'll need out of the original system, from what I understand, is the original cable. So this goes into the big plug that's under your seat. You can get these plugs out kind of individually. The big plug is more just a carrier to hold all of these little plugs. And then this is the part that would have gone into that control module under the seat. This bolts at the bottom of the seat. So we're going to cut this off, I know that much. And then from there, we will, I guess, read the instructions and figure out how to program this thing. So let me check those real quick, and then I will come back to you with how it works for mine. Looked over the instructions, they didn't really give us much. So no mention of these dip switches on the back. Currently it's 1 off, 2 and 3 are up and on, 4 is off. Dogs, gotta love them. So let's give this a shot. See what we get. So cut the plug off. We'll leave a little extra, why not? Just in case I need to put it back on. Oh, these poor coders. Alright. Split this open a little bit. Alright, that'll work. I'll re-sleeve this later. So strip the ends off. Alright. These aren't stripped by much, so strip them a little bit more. Maybe. So it's pretty straightforward, obviously. You just match your colors up here. Red to red, white to white, green to green. And before I get too far into this, as far as crimping it and doing everything else, I think what I'm going to do first is just temporarily kind of just twist it together like that, plug it in and see if the error code clears. So to keep anything stupid from happening, I'm just going to quickly put, this is temporary, just a little piece of electrical tape on each of these just to keep them from shorting out on each other. I'll go back and actually crimp these down with something proper in a minute, assuming this fixes it. Like I said, I've been messing with this. I think I stayed up till 2 in the morning one night trying to get all of this to work. Couldn't get it to work, finally gave up. Spent hours online looking for this solution. Like I said, NBs, it's a lot easier to find. The NC, not so much. Some guy took the rails off of his seat, kept the rails completely together, put pretty cool little solution. Put hose clamps, like your typical ones you get from AutoZone, put them around the rails and cinched them down to make the seat feel like somebody was sitting in it, or the sensor, I guess. So that worked for him. Another guy did do what I did with the aluminum, and that worked for him. Unfortunately, did not for me. So, all right, we got this together. I'm going to put the top down on the car because it's a lot easier to work on it. We'll lift up the passenger seat, and then we will plug this in and turn the ignition on. And with any luck, it will finally clear this code. Do love this top. It is super nice versus a soft top. Just crank this up. Top works a little faster when the car is actually running. All right. Good there. No copyrighted music started playing while I was working on getting that down. So you're gonna need to take the seat loose. It's just 4 14mm bolts. Nothing really big there. Pretty simple stuff. If I can find the right tools. There we go. Alright. We'll actually nope, that's only for the driver's side. Just a short one here. You know, I guess I could work smarter, not harder. Yeah, that's it. Alright. Tell you what, we'll show you, because a lot of people will tell you that you can't do this on these seats. I guess they're not entirely wrong, considering this is all a little messed up now. But you can put jazz brackets on these seats. You can see they're there. It really did help drop the seat down a lot. But it does mess with these occupancy rails. It's pretty hard to, without pulling the seat completely out, it's pretty hard to explain how these sensors work and how this whole system works. But essentially, there are 2 rails. The bottom rail moves a little bit independently of the one on top of it, kind of in an up and down motion. And it has these little arms on either side that when you sit down, it pushes up on the arms. And that is what puts pressure on those sensors. Yeah, like I said, it's a system, that's for sure. I know why they do it. You know, if you put your kids or whatever in the passenger seat, the system needs to know either not to set the airbag off at all. I think I read that some seat sensors actually have like multiple different stages that they can do as far as like the speed at which the airbag deploys, I guess the strength of it. I don't know if this car does that. It may just disable the seatbelt or the airbag to keep your kids safe. I don't have kids, so I am not worried about it. Alright. That was way more work than it needed to be. Unfortunately, the little Hercules 12-volt impact doesn't have all the strength in the world. Okay, so got the seat loose. We'll kind of get it leaned back. All right, good deal. Let's see if we can squeeze the camera in here. So this is under your seat. You've got your big plug here. It's got seat belt, airbag, and then this plug here is for this occupancy sensor. So we're gonna grab that, plug it in, and I will check and see if this airbag light is still going off. Luckily, all these plugs are different. They all have different slots and different things, so they only really go in one way together, or one way. So it's kind of hard to mess that up. So let's see. If I knew where the keys were, they're probably sitting in the car. That they are. All right, so we got the sensor plugged in. Hopefully that's not going to set the airbag off for some weird reason. And what we're looking for is that airbag light on the left right there. So it goes away, and then typically it will come back and start blinking an error code. And then the light on the dash will typically come on. This is already off to a good start. So let's start it. Yep, no codes at all. Fantastic. It's actually not even mad about the seatbelt, I don't think. It may be. Well, I'll have to drive around and test it, but this is just one of those dummy seatbelt plugs. It was a little loud, so I put some tape on it. Just try and keep it from rattling as much. But I usually just keep that somewhere in the car. So far so good. So let's shut the car off. Put this thing all the way together. And put the seat back. See if it stays good. So. Alright. We are back in here. So you will need probably a little flathead. Pick tool if you got it. Let's go with a little flathead. Ooh. There's a tab right here. You'll actually pull it away from the plug. So stick it in there. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. And it should pop free. Alright. So, like I said, this was temporary. So let's make it not so temporary. Let's see. Like I said, I'm not a fan of those connectors. It really comes across more as like a really... used to see telephone people use those a lot. Nope, not in here. Eventually we will find what I am looking for. Okay, a couple minutes later, found our connectors. These are made by a company called Elk. So these are like a little crimp connector. Pretty popular for use in like alarm work and stuff like that, which is where I get them from. So they pretty much have these, you're not gonna be able to see it, but there's some like teeth and stuff in there that help grab your cables and keep them from pulling out and losing the connection. I will say these yellow ones don't have what I was looking for in them. So these are ELK-902s. These are really nice just for like general wiring stuff. For like small gauge wire, low voltage stuff. These, the white ones, are gel filled. So they have what I assume to be dielectric grease in them. Which is really nice because it keeps your connections from corroding, from anything weird happening with them. Just keeps everything nice and happy. So, just twist your wires together, slide it on, use your favorite pair of crimpers, and just give it a couple crimps down the end of it. And there you go, nice and tight. Always give them a little tug, just make sure they grab, especially when you start working with really small gauge wires. These are pretty small, they're not the worst, but some of the really small stuff, you have to really be careful that you get a nice crimp and that they don't pull apart. Sometimes give it a little wiggle, just seat it all the way down in there, like that. And there you go, nice, clean connection. Probably gonna just give this a wrap in electrical tape, just to keep all the wires together, kind of make it a little pigtail. Let's see, where do we want to start? We'll start here. we go. So this will all go back under the seat. I really need to like tie this up probably a little bit better, but it's under a seat. I don't put stuff under there. It will be fine. So let's throw this together. Start the car back up. Make sure everything's good. Bolt the seat down, and then maybe go take it for a little drive real quick. Make sure everything's good. In the car, seat's bolted back down. Device is plugged in. Let's take it for a little drive. So, I plug my seatbelt in. Everything's good. No funny noises. Let's grab the passenger seatbelt. Plug it in. Nothing weird. So, looks like the airbag is working just fine. Okay, so now the seatbelt is flashing, telling me it's mad, and now it stops. So yeah, we're right back to kind of square one, if you want to call it, where it pretty much just constantly thinks somebody is in the seat. Not a big deal. You can either pull your seatbelt over and just plug it in, like I just did, because I don't know what I did with that little dummy plug that I have. It's around. Never mind. It's in my pocket. So, get a dummy plug if you need to. I guess the downside is if you are in an accident, the airbag is going to go off. If your driver's side airbag goes off, more than likely the passenger side will also go off as well, even if nobody is in the seat, which, kind of a shame, I guess. It's a little more damage you have to fix if something happens. But it is better than a not working system, which is what I had before, because it defaults to the airbag being off. So, no airbag. It's not something I wanted, just because if you have passengers or anything, obviously you are putting their lives in danger a little bit with that. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, especially in an accident. That would suck. So, I think we're good. Just go back to using my dummy plug like I was before, when the sensor was mad at me for having those drop brackets on. So there it is. You can put Jazz drop brackets on your stock seat, and if you end up having too much problem with the factory system, like I said, mine worked for a while where the rail just constantly had pressure on it, I'm assuming from the drop bracket, and I just had to have that little dummy plug. Eventually it just stopped working completely. It's a real pain to get all that replaced, and so we trick the system to make it think somebody is always in the seat. Use the dummy plug. Don't let kids ride with you. If you have kids, this is probably not the solution for you. If you have kids that ride with you a lot, especially really young kids, this is probably not what you want to do. It's not exactly safe. The airbag's going to go off. You can really hurt someone with that. So, shout out to the company that makes it. They do explicitly say this is a diagnostic tool. So, you're supposed to plug it in, see if the error code's clear, and if they clear, then you're supposed to take it right back out again. There you go, camera. So, it works. Excuse the Miata hair. I think that's about it. Really wasn't too expensive. Well, I don't know. I say that. It was about $75, $80 for the device. And then I think I paid another awful amount of shipping. I think it was $60 in shipping for that little envelope. So it kind of sucks, you know. Is getting a junkyard seat and just swapping the rails over cheaper? Probably. Um, is it way more effort than just ordering something to your house and, you know, crimping a few wires real quick? Definitely more effort. But do what you want with that. This works. This is the solution, especially for you guys that are doing race cars and you still have this system and you just want to trick it and get it to shut up without going through all the effort of dealing with the sensors and doing all this other crap. This worked great. So track cars, race cars, anything that doesn't have an airbag system anymore and you just need to trick it and tell it to shut up, works great. So with that, that's going to be the end of this one. I've got some more stuff that I'm going to be doing here pretty soon. Do a walk around of the Miata and the GX. Kind of talk about, you know, how I set these things up. The GX is a little bit of a jack of all trades for me. It's towing, camping, house stuff, you know, anything I need to do with it. The Miata is a street / HPD autocross car. Very simple setup. Not a lot of stuff here. You don't need a lot. But we'll walk through those and kind of talk about why I do certain things the way I do or decisions that I made. But yeah, that should be it for now. Feel free to subscribe or if you want. Like the video if you found this helpful. I'll have this posted around a few different places for the other NC guys to hopefully use it for future reference. Yeah, other than that, take it easy. Catch y'all in the next one.